Brad for winning the So, Richard made sure that puts on all this special work. Thank you, Richard. Dan made sure. To you all. So, big thanks to that group and to the folks that came before us and set the table. I appreciate that. So it's been a long 5 months, right? I don't know who went to the parent meeting, but that was one of the first things I said is, you know, we're in this for the long haul. So we're all family. You know, there's highs and lows, and we made it to the end as we always do. And it looks like everybody came out nice and clean. So that's good. And just to the coaches, I want to just thank you all for your dedication and the amount of time and blood, sweat, and tears that you put in for all these kids. It's incredible to see the type of preparation that goes into that. So just wanted to say thank you generally, and you all will have your time to come up and talk about your team. To the parents, also thank you for your dedication. I realize it is a lot for some of you that have multiple kids to coordinate getting them to all these practices, all these games, home games, away games, everything. So so much gratitude towards you all to making that kind of effort to get your kids to where they need to be. And then to our sponsors, we have a few of them in the room that are parents of some of our kids here. So thank you to you and any of the other sponsors that we've been able to get for this particular season to help support everything that we do with putting on the games. And then of course the parents again, just as serving as volunteers. So thank you again for all that. We can't keep a book. We can't keep a score clock. We can't do anything without your extra care and dedication to filling those roles. So that's really all I have in terms of just some opening remarks. Like Shelley mentioned, we're gonna bring up each of the teams. They're going to give out awards, and after that's occurred, you said, Shelley, we're gonna do a photo and then we'll release, correct? All right.
That's a good repetition. Children learn by repetition, so that's great. Always repeat instructions. Okay, so speaking of sponsors, if you have not picked up if you had a sponsor and you didn't get an extra program to go take back to your sponsor and thank them and show them their ad, please make sure you pick up one tonight, because each of our sponsors is given a program as well. If you're a parent sponsor, then you should have gotten with your programs when you're given to you. You should have gotten yours with the way our list was. The sponsors were separated out and they didn't have the person who got the sponsor on there. So if you're not a parent sponsor, you probably didn't get your sponsor yearbook. So make sure you get that tonight before you leave. So we're going to start off with our teams, and we tend to go youngest to oldest for this because we like to work our way up to the top. So our 10U boys, you are up first with Coach Brian Cease. He has been coaching ever since we snatched him from Illinois. He's been either an assistant or a head coach here for the Wildcats, and we're grateful to have him. All the 10U boys are just to come up with their coach onto the stage.
We on? Okay, we're good. All right. So last year, I discussed at the end how basketball players are made in the summer. And maybe I spoke too long. I know I went over my time last year, Shelley. Let me know that. But I wanted to put
Ethan
in the
gave you
beginning
an extra
my-
5 minutes.
I get an extra, okay. I get Ethan's time. But I felt like this year, I wanted to put in the beginning speech the importance of the summer and developing basketball players. I'll tell a quick story. A couple years ago, when I was moving to Indianapolis, we were looking for basketball teams, and there were several we looked at, but one of them we didn't look at because we didn't think it was a serious basketball program. So for me and our family, it's kind of weird that they're ranked higher than us at every level. So for me, that's hopefully for you as well, it burns a little because the Wildcat program is about being on top. So it's kind of what I was driven, but I think there's plenty of talent in this room, but right now our opponents don't fear Wildcat basketball, and we need to get that back. So if you asked yourself last summer, did you spend more time on 2K, video games, and on your iPhone, you missed out. So hopefully this summer you spend more days stacking days of just working out. I know we have Nate Mag here tonight. And if you don't know about Nate Mag's workout program, you should. I know if you ask Joel and you ask Ty, the last two MVPs, regional MVPs, Nate Mag's workout program makes a difference. And I think you'll also ask them if they stack days those summers before their MVP year. I think they were in the gym a lot when I saw that. So hopefully in this room we have the next MVP coming up. You're going to talk to Nate Mag tonight. But the other thing I want to say is I know Ty and Benjamin will be at Mount Pleasant a bunch this summer. Stacking days, so I invite everybody to Mount Pleasant to join. It's cheap, and it's a great location, and I want Wildcat basketball to be feared again. That's my hope and goal, so hopefully that's yours as well. So, I gotta introduce my 10U team. So we had, one of the advantages of having Nate as assistant coaches, we have a pizza party at Chicago's Pizza because he's a sponsor. So he's got a full-time job on my assistant. As long as I'm here, he's the assistant. So not just for the pizza party, but Nate does a great job coaching, filling in when I'm out. And yes, Mr. Gorley, he had a better record than me. I know that. But Nate does a great job with the kids, and I really appreciate that. But first, I want to thank the most important person in my life, and that's my wife, Michelle. She's somewhere right here. She knows how passionate I am about basketball, and she knows how much time I sacrifice to it, and I appreciate her letting me do that. I also want to thank, as Ethan did, all the parents that help out, volunteer. We had some issues with someone not doing the clock, and when she did the clock, we won every game, and then sometimes she wouldn't do it. So, Miss Day, you know who you are. I won't say your name out loud. But I need to thank especially Jennifer Walker, Jenny Walker, I always say that, but Jenny helped in so many ways, organized practices, communication, so much more. She was key to, I know everybody's program, but especially for the 10U, keeping me organized. And I also want to thank Eli Gorley and Noah Ball. They did a great job helping coach. And we saw a lot of improvement this year, and I give them a lot of credit because they're in kids' ears and helping throughout all the practices. So they were huge and instrumental to us. So I want to go down. At our pizza party, everybody got an award, and I'll give you some insights in the award. So we'll start with Isaac. Isaac Vellerman was our Lightning McQueen Speed Award. He was the front of the press when he came in. He was nothing but speed all over him. We have Benjamin Cease, who got the Game Face Award. I don't know why, but as we joked, when that face came on and he got into that groove, everybody knew it, and that game face came on. So we got Lincoln Paul, who was our Swiss Army knife. He got to do a lot of different positions. He kind of filled in wherever we needed and did a great job. Levi Day, this was an easy one because when we started doing charges, he was not only the first one that wanted to run through people, but he kept, hey, let me get charged again. Let me get charged again. He was our tough guy award. So he was no doubt our toughest player. And then Landon Day, so we had both Day boys. He was our, a dead-eye shooter award because he shot 75% from the field for the year. Whenever he shot, we knew it was going in. So he was buckets. So we love that. And then this one was easy, Isaac. So he was our best nickname, the Big Dog award. We got Ezra Epple, and we thought about this one for a while because Ezra always would have to guard the biggest player, and I don't know what some of these teams had, but Ezra was giving up 6 inches to 8 inches and about 40 pounds. So he was our David. So he slayed Goliath a lot. So he's our David Award. And then we got Austin. Austin Mole was our Johnny on the spot. He was always in the right spot, and he would hit that wing shot a ton. And then we have Isaiah Walker, who was our Ice in the Veins Award winner. And then we have Jeremiah Long, who you can see right now, biggest smile. He's the one. He was always smiling. So I want to give a little recap of our season. At the beginning of the season, I knew we need some players to step up. We lost last year's 10U MVP and Jacob Owen to aging up. We tried to give him a fake ID, but it didn't work out. But we had several returning players, and expectations were high for this team. And then we lost Isaiah Walker to a broken wrist early in the season. I was watching that game, I thought, oh, that wasn't nothing. And then they called me and said, nope, he's out for a while. So, but the good thing is it forced other players to step up. And while we struggled in the crossroads with several teams doing a boxing one on Benjamin, we did find ways to compete in battle. And we played a bunch of tough teams. We got into a Saturday public school league, and I felt like after beating Northside early in the year and competing with Northwest without Isaiah, we had a good chance for regionals. And I might have focused a little too high on it because unfortunately we got a hot West Michigan team. I mean, they threw in every shot. I mean, we watched them warm-ups, and they didn't make a shot, and then, I mean, every kid, whatever they threw in there, a couple of them didn't even look at the hoop, they just threw it up and it went in. And then they did a triangle and 2 on us, and we lost that game. But I was very proud of the way the team responded. You could tell they were shooken up about that loss. But the next 2 games were probably our most complete games of the year and a complete team effort. So for the awards, these were challenging. We had 10 kids. I had all my assistants kind of tell me who they thought. But for the first award, we went with the most improved. And it was challenging, but we went with Ezra Epple. Again, Ezra had to guard the opposing team's biggest players. He knew it. And like I said, it seemed like, especially in the public league, we had some huge kids. I don't know what they're feeding them in the public league. But Ezra was giving up a ton of height, a ton of weight, but he stepped up to the challenge. Where he really improved, I think he got more confident on offense. He really learned to do the pick and roll, and he became one of our best offensive rebounders. And if you guys know me, that's kind of what I love. So he followed. So he did also a great job on the wing, filling in where I need him to. But I look forward to continued improvement. Good job, Ezra. Our next award was the Defensive Player of the Year. And early in the year, I realized quickly that I had too many Isaacs on the team. So I asked our Defensive Player of the Year if he had any nicknames, and the Big Dog was born. I don't know how many refs came up to me and said, I love that nickname, because that's what I'm yelling out, Big Dog, you gotta be there, Big Dog, you gotta be there. And they said, oh, I love that, that's such a perfect name for him. But Big Dog really did a great job in the middle of the press. He had tons of steals, great anticipation. He really picked it up. And he also a lot of times took on the opposing team's best players and played some lockdown TB. So great job, Big Dog. We also had a Regional Player of the Year on the team, and that is Isaiah Walker. Isaiah had an outstanding regional tournament and was well deserved. He is a true baller whose passion for the game and willingness to mix it up is a joy to coach. I joked with his parents, we need to get him knee pads, elbow pads, because he's on the floor a lot. But he also won the Ice Water and the Vein Award, not just because he came up to clutch so many times for our team and when you need to steal or basket, but I was at home watching sick, and as I mentioned, I'll steal this because I know Ethan's probably not going to say this, but if he does, he can say it again. I'm watching the 12U team, and they're down 2 points with only a couple seconds remaining, and Isaiah gets a steal, is driving in, gets fouled, only a few seconds left, and I'm watching, and I sit at home and I watch these kids, and I know if they're going to make it or not, and I tell Ty he's not making it, he's making it, and I'm usually pretty on, and I saw Isaiah, nothing but net, both of them, so clutch player, great job. For the MVP for our team, we went with Benjamin Cease. Benjamin led us in steals, assists, shots made, shots taken, most times yelled at by his coach, three-pointers taken, fouls given, fouls taken, lockdown D, and was kind of the engine in our front of our press that made it go. So if he was on it, and like I said, if he had that game face, watch out. He had to deal with a lot of boxing ones this year, but he started to learn how to handle that extra attention with Isaiah out. And I think his energy for the team is just contagious. And I'm very happy to say, not once this year did he say he preferred last year's coach over this year's coach. So, good job.
Hey, kiddos on the side over there, if you could please sit down in back. Thank you.
All right, it's not an official Wildcat award, but for me it is. I wish it would be, but this year's Ian Gorley Blue Guy Award goes to Austin Wall. Austin went from a spot player last year and worked hard all summer. I even saw him a few times in Mount Pleasant at 6 a.m. in the gym. I think his parents made him there, but he was still working on his game, and I loved it. And he became a starter and a complete glue guy for our team. He won the Johnny on the spot, and like I said, he was a key cog, and I think he took our first official charge as well. So I love to see that, but he did the dirty work for the team. So great job, Austin. And our last award is obviously the most important one, who exemplifies Christ. And we had a lot of kids that I couldn't, we all nominated, but one player I just had the character of Christ throughout the year, and I just loved it, and that is Lincoln Ball. It was my first year coaching Lincoln, but he was a wonderful addition to the team. He was forced to play both wing and big and sometimes all over the court, but I had him in numerous spots on the press. and he quickly adapted, was so easy to coach, and he always gave maximum effort. We needed a spark after that loss, and I inserted him to the starting lineup, and he did just that. He gave so much energy to the team. I felt like it just ignited that loss to the next step. Lincoln, you are definitely a light and a true joy to be around, and don't ever let that light dim. So last, I want to thank the parents and the Wildcat board for trusting me to coach this year's group. It was truly a wonderful year. We had such a growing year and so much fun, and I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to do that. And next up, Coach Miller is going to present for the 12U girls.
Oh wait, so the boys need to take a picture first, if you guys could line up like this. Yeah, I'm actually going to introduce the nice people tonight so that we get the pictures in. Yeah. Alright. So look at Mrs. Ramirez and smile. Thank you, Coach Cease and our 10 boys. All right, so good news and bad news. Good news is Coach Cease did not go over his time, thanks to Mr. Walker. And the bad news is that unfortunately, Coach Overton is not here tonight. She's been the head coach of our girls 12U team for 6 years, and she has coached the last year with us, at least for now. She is taking a break after this year, and we could not miss her words of wisdom in this awards, but she's on the beach right now. And not sad at all not to be here, probably. Maybe a little sad. So we recorded her remarks, but Coach Miller is going to come up with the 12U girls team first and give us a recap, and then she will announce the awards by video. 12U girls.
Coach Heather is on a well-deserved vacation. I'm sure she's probably watching my video, so I'm going to give a few thanks to some people, and then I'll recap the season, and then we'll hear from Coach Heather. So, Coach Heather has been coaching with us, as Shelley said, for 6 years now, and she can't be here tonight. I would imagine she's probably watching, but if we could give Coach Heather a good round of applause, that'd be great. Next, the parents. I know we've got some parents that have got kids in different programs and playing on different teams. Making the effort to get to the 12U practice and the time and making that a commitment is really appreciated. So I appreciate the parents and their time this year. The next thing is the Wildcat Board. And this is the first year that I think we've taken a 12U girls team to nationals, so thank you for the board for giving us the opportunity to go and compete at nationals. I think the girls had a great time at nationals, and I think they're looking forward to practicing, and so making that an annual trip for these guys. So to recap the season, wasn't really sure what to expect. We had Kenna wasn't sure what team Kenna was going to end up on. We had a few girls that decided not to come back this year. So it was, what numbers are we going to have? What's it going to look like? So we started the season with 2 tough programs, the Lions, Hawks, and I know the first game we had a player missing out of town, and it was a little bit of a struggle. But I think we competed well. The younger girls got a lot of experience. Then the next game against the Lions, we had one of our players head to Germany to follow the Colts. So, for this first couple games, we had a couple key players out, and some new players that were just kind of learning the game and what it took to compete at the 12U level. So, but I knew with the players that we had, if we could get a little time with them, get them to work together, and really gained confidence. We could see a lot of improvement throughout the year. So, and I think the girls realized that. I think about a little after Christmas, we played the Lions again, or may have been after the year. We played the Lions again, and came back to the very, the second half and beat them. We applied some pressure where, you always say teams that pressure and press, they don't like to be pressed. So we pressed them in the second half a little bit and made a great comeback. And I think that was the first time we beat the Lions in a while. So it was a great comeback and win to get the girls a little bit more confidence. So going into a couple more highlights, we played in the Crossroads Clash. We played a team from West Michigan, and a really strong program. They had a lot of really aggressive girls. It was a fun game to watch. But our girls really competed well and pulled off a really good win in the Crossroads Clash. So we had a few close games in state. We just lost to the Evansville Racers, and we were excited to go to regionals. And one thing about these girls is, I talked with Coach Ocean at Nationals, that you knew we were always going to be in the game because of how hard we competed. So I think towards the end, I think we could have competed against anyone in the state, or even, and I think we proved nationally by just how hard we competed. So I'm going to introduce our girls, and then I'll turn it over to Coach Heather to talk about the awards. Audrey Alvey. Audrey, when she was, you knew Audrey was ready to play. And the game against Greenwood Christian, she came into the game and came into the gym and was like, we're going to win today. So you knew that Audrey was always going to bring a great effort. I think she got 14, 15 rebounds that game and just really dominated the class and did a great job when we beat Greenwood Christian. Sadie Miller. Sadie, I think around Christmas time, she was like, I'm going to start putting a little bit more time. We went to the gym a little bit more, and she had a little success from that. I think that kind of fed her. It's like, if I put in a little bit more work, as Coach C said, you're going to see the rewards from it. So, Phoebe Woodard. We had 4. We also played a few 10U games. Phoebe, Julia, Kyra, Ruth, Isla, Cassie. So we played 4 10U games, and all of our girls really competed well. But Phoebe was just, she always came to practice with a big smile on her face. Was always a joy to coach, and you could just see her get stronger as the year kept going on and on. I was telling her at dinner, it's like we played when they did the pep rally and they did the free throw competition. I'm not sure she missed any. So, and to go from at the very beginning of the year where she would struggle to get the ball up from the free throw line to that, you can see the marked improvement. So then we've got Julia and Ruth Grimm. So I think Julia overheard me talking about needing some players for soccer that we coached, that she played with from soccer for basketball. And I'm so glad that they were able to join us this year. Julia is a fierce competitor, always has great questions, always wants to learn, and I look forward to seeing her continue to grow. I think she's already recruiting girls for next year. I told the 10U girls, so you need to go out and recruit anyone that's tall. So I think Julia and Cassie, and I think they've got some girls that they're trying to recruit for next year. So Kenna Gorley. Kenna, I'm so glad that you joined us at 12U. Kenna played on 3 different teams, and she was going from game to game. It's like she would finish one game and then come to the next game and be changing uniform to get there just before tip-off. And Coach Heather and I were very glad that you played with us, and it was a joy coaching you. So then Kyra Gorley, my little coach on the bench. Kyra always a positive attitude. She always had questions as well. And I could see Kyra being a coach one day for the Wildcats after a long, successful career. So, and then Cassie Tolbert. Cassie is just a fierce competitor. So, a great shooter. You never want to play her in knockout because she's probably going to win. But Cassie's a very smart player, great ball handler, played under control, and she just loves to go out and compete. So, and then my last one, Isla Reese. Isla's our dancer in the group. She would always miss Tuesday practice, and it always amazed me that even though she missed that one practice on Tuesday, she knew what was going on. Isla's very smart. She picked things up just by watching during games, and when she went in, she knew what she was doing, and filled in some big minutes. So she had to go in for when some of our players got in foul trouble. Isla had to go in and play down low over the zone. Yes, Ken, that was you. And Sadie. But Isla had to go in and play different positions. So one of the things about these girls, they competed really hard. But after the games, the intense games against West Michigan, against the Fort Wayne Guardians, against the Hawks, a lot of the games, Coach Heather and I always got complimented by the other coach about how fun it was to play our team. So they loved how hard we competed. They loved that it was a challenge to compete against us, and they loved how our girls acted on and off the court. So I think we built a lot of friendships with other teams throughout the year, and earned a lot of respect for our program. So thank you, girls, for how you competed on and off the court.
So ladies, when your name is called by Coach Heather, you're going to go to Coach Miller and get your award, okay?
Yeah, before Mrs. Dove turned on, how we selected the awards, the coaches got together this year, and we had girls playing in different age groups. So Kenna was 12U, 14U, and 16U. So we really decided when selecting for awards, we would only give awards to the age group that they were assigned to. So Kenna's not going to be receiving an award 14U or 16U. It will just be 12U tonight. So, Mrs. Dove, I'm going to turn it over to you then.
So, who's going to be on the TVs here? Mr. Dove, sorry.
Okay, hello everyone watching this at the banquet. When Jenny first suggested filming a note, I was going to do it on the beach in North Carolina, where I am right now as you're watching this. But in the end, this was the idea that went out, so I could be with the girls. So, and of course, hello to all of you guys. Thank you for coming to our little party here today. It's very fun. I am going to start right off the bat with our team awards, and I'm going to start with MVP because it's not surprising. She was our team's high scorer for the season, and we were a better team when she was on the court. Miss Kenna Gorley. Keep loving the sport and growing not only in your skills, but in your walk with the Lord and into the young woman He created you to be. How did these past 5 years of you being on this team go by so quickly? It's been an honor to be a coach, mentor, and honorary big sister in your life. You've brought humor and fun to me and your teammates since you joined the team, and I hope you never lose that joy and spark. The winner of the most improved player goes to Miss Sadie Miller. Good job, Sadie. It was so exciting watching you go from a timid player who was happy to let your teammates do the work and have the ball, to being the aggressive player you are now and just willing to go for it and just take a chance. One thing I love to see from all you girls is having the confidence to try, and you embrace that this season. And your hard work outside of practice also really showed. So keep it up, you did a great job. The winner of our Defensive Player of the Year award goes to Miss Audrey Albee, and I'll read this to the camera because I've been watching. I've seen your self-control and ability to overcome negative emotions in the games. grow by leaps and bounds. As a coach, my desire is to see you grow in the Lord, and I care more about that than I could ever care about your basketball skill. So this has blessed me so much to see. I'm also proud of the leadership skills I saw and your tender heart towards your younger teammates. And finally, the award that can be overlooked, but it's an important one to us as Wildcats, is our Christian Character Award. And this is one of my favorite ones to give out every year. And I'm excited to give it to a girl who is one of the most joyful people I know. This right, Phoebe Leonard. You are kind to your teammates, you show excellent respect to me and Coach Jason, and you always try your best at practice. I hope you had a fun season because we are all so blessed to have you there with us. As we look back on this season, and for some of you on this season of life that was your years as junior cats, the words of King Solomon come to mind. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? I've seen the burden God has laid on the human hearts. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from the beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. Satisfaction in their toil. I love this so much. God is so gracious to us that not only has He promised to never leave us or forsake us through all the hardships of life, but He has also given us the gift of getting to enjoy each season of life and find satisfaction in our hard work. I hope you look back at your hard work you put in this season and feel satisfied with what you were able to accomplish. And now, in closing, I would like to end with a charge to all of you young ladies. And if you aren't familiar with that term, a charge means to entrust someone with a task or duty or a responsibility. So these are things I want you to think about this summer and as you go forward. Ladies, go into the next season of life full of hope. Be a spark of hope that the world can't put out. Go into the next season of life full of love, truly showing the love of God, where we give of ourselves for the good of others. Go into the next season of life full of gratitude. Never stop being thankful for what you have and let that thankfulness shine in a world of selfishness. Go into the next season of life full of faith. Ask questions and keep learning, but learn with a heart that's set on God's truth and faith in His goodness. And lastly, go into the next season of life with peace. Rest well knowing that whatever the future holds, God will be with you and He loves you more than you can know. And I have loved getting to be your coach this year, girls, so thank you.
So, ladies, we want to go to Mrs. Morales. Let's take a picture right there. A big smile.
Mrs. Dove, I think my wife came up and said, I think I neglected to say a little bit
Did
about
you?
one of my favorite players.
Oh, okay.
Miss Ruth Grimm. So, Ruth, you should see Ruth. You're all my favorite players. But yeah, Ruth is not, she's a great soccer player. So if you're at the soccer field, it's kind of a catch her at the soccer field. She's a great soccer player. But I was so excited to see her come play basketball with her sister Julia. One thing that Sadie mentioned, I think they were fighting for a loose ball. And you never paired Julia and Ruth against each other in practice. That never turned out well. But Sadie went up for a grabbed a loose ball with Ruth, and was like, I didn't know Ruth was that strong. So it's like, so I look forward to seeing you continue to grow in the soccer field as well as the basketball court.
ladies take a picture, and then we have Coach Walker with 12 boys.
Okay. So this is our 12U boys team. I think we're just missing one tonight. But I'll still like to say a few words about him and everybody else that's up there. So, as I mentioned before, there are a couple of reiterations again, thanks to the parents and just again for the commitment and getting them to practices. I want to thank Coach Jason for jumping in as a rookie to the club. One thing I failed to mention in the opening remarks is I don't know how many of you folks have been watching a lot of these games on YouTube with our live streamers, but thank you so much to Shelly and our team for putting those together. It's great for coaches to be able to watch those back. It's great for extended families that are able to come and watch the kids play. So thank you again so much for that. Let's talk about the team here. So we've got Knox Hampton. Yeah, just give a little hi there. So Knox is along with his dad and others. He's a rookie to the club, and just some things that I appreciate about him is he always comes to practice with tons of enthusiasm, and he always holds himself accountable to just be the best teammate and player, developing player that he can be, and he's just been a tremendous joy to have around on the team. Colton Ball. So Colton I would deem him to be one of our enforcers when he gets into the game. And he always played great defense and played with a lot of toughness. And even in various games, he had a lot of timely shots for us. And so just one of the highlights that I remember from him, just kind of what made the enforcer come to mind is he had a game against Columbus where I started him, and he ended up getting 7 rebounds in the first quarter. So that's something you can watch back on YouTube if you want to see that. Dominic is our player that's not able to be with us tonight. He's another rookie to the club, and he learned a lot this year, and had a good nose for the ball on defense, and got a lot of key steals in some of our games. So just wanted to say a quick word about him, even though he's not here. Jacob Owen. I really appreciate his willingness to step up this year. I put him in some new challenging roles for him, just serving as a primary ball handler in a lot of our games. So I thought that showed a lot for him to be willing and step up to that challenge. So Luke Day. Luke's been around a while too, and if you've all watched Luke play, he just continues to get better each and every year. So he's took a little bit of this year and started expanding his game offensively, and he hit a lot of timely shots for us as well. And I just recall one of our games against Bloomington in the regionals that really stuck out to me. Just seeing him go up and crash the boards and get an offensive rebound and a stick back. So that's a big step for him, and just as he moves forward as a developing player. Ethan Engler. So we got for me was just energy. He just played with a ton of energy. He came ready to go for practice, ready to go for games. You could count on him for tons of rebounds, tons of steals, and just getting up and down the floor. And as his dad would tell me, he's got even more to come. So we'll continue to push you and get the most out of you. Will Ramirez. While Will doesn't have any needs associated with his first initials, he brought a ton of energy and enthusiasm as well to our team. So he was another one of our new guys, and I remember seeing him in one of our last workouts in the summer when his family showed up, and he was not shy about being ready to roll. And he took that all the way through the season, and he made a lot of strides offensively, but I knew just with the energy and enthusiasm he had, he was ready to go defensively, and we could count on him in that role. Ezra Walker. So, Ezra started out the season a little rough, and you might find this is a common theme for any Walker boys in the first month of the season, but he, along with Indy and the other Walker, had a broken arm, and so started off kind of rough there. But what I did appreciate about him is he was always engaged, even when he wasn't available. Was involved in practices and kept his esteem high. And just throughout the course of the year, he did a good job developing leadership abilities. As I constantly challenged him to try to make the right plays. So that was something I appreciated from his time this season. And then I've got him listed here, number 11 and number 1. I just call them the young pups. So oftentimes you can't mention these two, without being at the same time. So we got Benji Cease and Isaiah Walker. They actually didn't get a chance to practice with us very much throughout the course of the year with their responsibilities with the 10U team, but they were always committed to being available, and I really appreciated their attitudes, even though I'm anxious to try to get into our games, that they were patient with it and knew when their time was, and just appreciated their contributions when they did get on the court. So that's our 12U team. Let's get into the awards a little bit here. So for most improved, I'll just kind of give a quick rundown, and then we'll give the name after. We'll just go with the name. So it's Will Ramirez. So as I alluded to, Will was awesome from the get-go, just with, again, his enthusiasm that he played with. And when you get someone like that shows up to your practices and your games, they can only go up. And so he was always willing to take on more, wanted to do more. He worked really hard in practice. He earned Coach and Knight's trust in terms of just being able to keep him out there and know that we could count on him defensively in any of our games. And even, again, by the end of the year, I mean, he's starting us off in the scoring column in one of our games at regionals. So he's got a lot more growth to go, and he will accomplish that with his enthusiasm that he brings. Spirit Award or Christian Character. We're hearing a lot of different references to it, but this one's easy for me. It's Luke Day. Luke, again, while continuing to just keep working on his game year in and year out, one thing that you can always count on is, he's going to encourage his teammates, whether he's on the floor or off the floor, and even when he's off the floor, he's always about the team. He comes with positive energy in practices, and when we need a team huddle broken down, we know who our guy is. So just love his spirit and his positive vibe on the team. Defensive Player of the Year, Ethan Ackler. lot of these younger teams, you kind of notice a common trend. Typically, we're always up against some team that's got some type of man-child on their team. Ethan was the beneficiary of always getting to match up against whoever that person is. And, you know, at this age level, they're typically one of the better players on the team as well. So he always accepted the challenge. I could count on him to, again, just bring the energy. He was a great rebounder, and he was a really good help defender, sometimes to his detriment, because he would help way too far over, but at least he had the right mindset, and you know that's a great trait to have as you continue to move up through the ranks. So, and then most valuable player, Ezra Walker. Ezra, I would say, was probably more consistent of a contributor in terms of displaying leadership as the season progressed, and again charged him to make the right play, even if the results weren't going our way. If it helped not only himself, but if it helped the team continue to develop as we went through the season. And yet could still count on him for timely defense, whether it's steals, blocks, rebounding, shot making. That's the well-rounded kind of game that we look for in an MVP. So those are our awards, and this is our 12U team, and they made a lot of improvement from the first game to the last game. Just one, a couple quick thoughts that come to mind. Just with one particular team, when we played Bloomington in one of our first games, we just ran out of the gym. And come full circle, you get back to regionals. While we didn't get the result we wanted, we had them down to the wire at the very end. They had the same team, we had the same team, and that was the kind of development that we were looking for out of this team. So thank you guys for all of your efforts, and best of luck as some of you move up. And that's the 12U team.
Nice. Mr. Jones is right there. No, there you go. Great job, guys. Good season. All right, next up we have, first I want to thank, real quick, thank Ben Owen. Can you stand up, please? Okay, Nate's not here today. Ben and Nate invested some time in some of those younger teams, and the 14 boys as well, and they made some films for them that I think, clap for them if you were really encouraged by the film they made for you. Yeah. So I just want to thank them for taking extra time to do that. Good job, you guys. 14U girls with Coach Worley and Coach Ryder. Coach Worley.
So first of all, I don't get the mic very often, and every time they give it to me, they want to take it away. But that loud noise you heard on my phone a few minutes ago, that was my lovely wife doing Find My iPhone to be funny during the thing. So just so you know, that's what I have to deal with. But Ryan Cease did it really well, so I want to follow his lead. I do want to thank my wife for letting me coach. That was a smart move, Ryan. So thank you. And we have a busy schedule, so we were counting. I think we had 18 games as a family during regional, so that's kind of fun to be all day, every day basketball. So this is the junior high girls. So I get a little bit from JV, and I get a little bit from 12U. I have my two coaches over here, Mr. Wirtz and Ms. Roto, and you can't do it without coaches, guys. So thank you to Andy and Joe for helping out this year. I think they're mostly there to help keep me under control when I get excited. And that happens quite a bit throughout the year. So I'll just go through I'm going to keep it short and sweet. These girls are awesome, but I'll introduce them really quickly We've got Mary, Naomi, Hannah, Leah, Lauren, Lydia, Ainsley, Ainsley, Natalie, and Audrey. So that's the awesome junior high girls team. As you can imagine, each one of them have really lots of good roles, playing hard. One thing about my teams is I just require them to play really hard. I coach really hard, and so I want them to play really hard. And I'm excited to see them when we do presses and do different stuff, really get at it. I can think of some games that we came back in with the last couple minutes and made it a game just because we showed effort. We're just going to have to work on it, do it for the whole entire game versus the last 2 minutes. But some really good stuff. During homeschool teams, we were 6-2. Those lovely Lions will be the next year, hopefully. We lost 2 to them. And we did really well in regionals and state. So we won some games and had lots and lots of fun. So let's go to the rewards, and I want to start with most improved. And this girl, she's her first year with the club, and I think she just has a natural basketball IQ. You see her like zone in, think about it a little bit, see others do it, and then before you know it, you're like, wait a minute, she can really do it. She can do it well. And so as the year went on, she got more and more developed and continued to play more and more, and really started to run the stuff and made some points at the end of the year, even more and more as she went along. So Naomi Grimm. So defensive player of the year. It's hard when you only have four awards to give, but she's one of the smaller girls on the team, but she's super quick. She stays in front of them, and she just bugs them. And she uses that on offense, and she also uses that on defense. It really does a good job of staying in front of her defenders, making sure he locks them down. Most of the time, she's guarding some of the better players out there, and that's Lydia Elvey. So let's go with the Spirit Award, Christ-like. This is a really important reward because it's not always somebody that really just kind of leads the team, leads them maybe silently, maybe loudly, but also just is always upbeat, the encourager of the team, somebody that comes along people and makes sure they're having a good day, just has fun, holds them together, scores some points, plays some basketball, and she did all of that and some. So Mary, nice job. MVP, the last one here, and this girl, the one that I remember, the game that I remember the most is GCA during the Tinley tournament when we won that, and we continue to push her to shoot the ball, trying to give her every chance to make points, and she led the team as she's with points, but also just guiding the team through plays and stuff. And in that GCA game, she scored 5 3-pointers. So that's really awesome, and just really started to, not only did she do it in junior high, but she led and scored some points in JV as well, and that's Natalie Tobin. So I can't tell jokes because Jill said I couldn't tell a joke. But what does the,
That's your junior high team.
All of you junior high girls, while you're smiling, Mrs. Ramirez, for your picture, smiling. Thank you for showing up at almost all of the boys' games where you were anywhere in the vicinity and cheering really loud. Guys, can you give them a round of applause? I mean, they came with this stuff, and they
So I need Ruth Graham to come up here.
Oh, Ruth Grimm, this one.
she's in trouble.
Apparently tomorrow is a big day with Ruth. Tomorrow is her birthday. And so we want to sing happy birthday with Ruth. The whole club. Okay? So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
work here with. Okay, so next up we have one of our bigger teams, the junior high boys, coached by Coach Cody Hirons and Coach Mike. They get an extra 5 minutes to leave by here on stage. That's a joke.
All right, real quick, Coach Noah wanted to say something to everyone else before we got started. So.
As some of you know, I'm a full Wildcat player. Due to my health, I've been advised not to play the game we all love, basketball. You may be confused because I look pretty healthy. Well, I've got a rare disease that causes my bones to be brittle. It's kind of like that of an elderly person. So knowing this, Coach Cody reached out. Boy, am I so thankful. He reached out to me and asked me if I would help. I agreed, and we've had some sad times as we've lost some games as well as Levi breaking his ankle. He's just following my footsteps or whatever. But we've had some fun times as we go to Lambert's and completely stuff ourselves with all the rolls. Eli. I do want to thank all the parents of each and every single player for allowing me to be here and allowing me to help alongside of each and every single one of the young men that are standing behind me, as well as each and every single one of you for the effort you put into this year. It's been amazing, and I couldn't have imagined so much fun. Thank you, Coach Cody and Coach Bryce, for the sacrifice that you guys made in allowing me to be here. Especially when I probably got a little frustrating hearing me asking to be put in, borrow a jersey or whatever. I know Mrs. Hirons, you're watching online, and I just want to say thank you for the sacrifice you made for each and every single practice, each and every single late night, each and every single game, for the compassion you showed each and every single one of these young men, and even myself, for allowing Coach Cody to be here and teach us things that not only on the court, but also things of life, and to love people and to just be kind to everyone that you meet. I also want to thank my dad for always showing me how to be a man. He taught me that no matter what's going on in life, hurting or whatever, as he goes to work after accidents and everything, he's taught me and my brothers how to be a provider for a family. I want to thank my mom for teaching me kindness in everything that she's done in my life. I love you both. Lastly, I thank God for this opportunity to be here as an assistant coach. Thank you.
Well, if I would have known that he was going to say I would have made it to the last, so I have to all of that. So, our junior high boys team had a whopping 14 this year, so we kind of split into two teams for some of our tournaments, things like that. But everyone, I believe, is here except for Noah. Right? It's hard to keep track. So our team went 22-14 this year, and that was just as one team. Like I said, we had another team that got to play some extra games too. They went 5-7, so that is a lot of games, which did not leave a lot of time for practice. So thank you to the boys for being patient with me as I scream at you for not knowing the plays that we've only had a couple of chances to run with those limited practices. But started off the season pretty hot. But I pulled off around Crossroads Clash. We lost our first game after winning the first 7 or so. It's basically an up and down season from there of extreme highs and extreme lows, which is just part of the game. I think as we go through here, I didn't really write out a whole speech, but I think I'll mention each player here as we go through the awards. We'll start off with the MVP. MVP at our age level probably revolves the most around who's most able to handle the ball. So we had 2 guys who really did a great job of that this year, and that's Logan Below, Elijah, I call him Below, and Eli Gorley. Being a ball handler, so much pressure is put on you every single game of if a team presses or if a team knows that you're 2 of the main ball handlers, they're just going to be all over you. And it's also a visit, you're kind of learning not to leave someone stranded in the press too. So sometimes you don't always have someone to pass to. So thank you guys for being willing to take on that responsibility. But after deliberating with our coaches, we decided to give the MVP award to Eli Gorley. So next we have the Defensive Player of the Year award. I think this one is going to come as a shock to no one. So Levi Ball will be getting that award. It's not just because he broke his ankle on a chase down block. It was executed perfectly, but it's just those are the type of plays he made the whole season. Always wanted to guard the best player, always wanted to play defense. I've never seen a kid enjoy defense as much as he does. It's like most kids want the ball, they want to shoot threes, but he wants to guard their best player and hold him to at least as many points as he can. One of his best games this year is probably against the Lapeer Lakers. They had a kid that also played JV and had a 40-point game at regionals, and Levi held him like 4 points when he was in the game. So, I did want to give a shout out to both Pierce and Uriah for being the other 2 guys responsible for guarding any quick guard or really athletic player that we had. You guys always stepped up to the occasion on that. And special shout out to Landon for always wanting to guard the big guy, whoever that is, and boxing out every single time. Very much appreciated from a coach who's constantly screaming you guys to box out. So. Most improved was another really tough one for me. This is one that factors in a lot of things of where a player comes in at the season, when the season starts, and when it finishes. So I want to give a special shout out to Calvin. Calvin's one of his first years playing organized basketball, at least with the Wildcats for sure. And just the growth that he had this year and the persistence and not always having the opportunity to get in the game, but always being ready to, and always being ready to do whatever I ask in practice. Ian Marks had a huge transformation from last year to this year, just with confidence. Last year, I think you probably wouldn't have put the ball past you if you got the game, but this year you were more than willing to make yourself available, shoot the shot if it was there, and make the right play. And then Pierce just this season, from start of the year to the end of the year, has really capitalized on opportunities. At the end of the day, I decided to go with Lucci, combining both, as he gives me the face, combining both the mental and physical aspect of the game. Of Lucci earlier in the year would struggle a little bit in practices of making a mistake and lashing out at himself. Not necessarily someone else. He never really lashed out at someone else. It was more of he was just so mad that he either didn't make the shot or missed the layup or did the wrong thing. But he, as the year progressed, just really made improvements in practices and in games of when he got mad, he just didn't lash out, and also really did a good job of learning the art of boxing out with his, not just relying on his bigger frame. My bad. Yeah, there you go. My bad, coach. So the Spirit Award has had many names tonight, and I'm going to give it one more. I like to call it the MVT, the most valuable teammate. I try to harp into my guys every single year that being a good teammate is just as important as being a good basketball player. And it's probably honestly harder to be a good teammate because it takes a lot more sacrifice than it does just to get better at the game or be good at the game. So this came down to 2 players, and it was Isaiah Haichu, who was our winner last year, and Ian Ball, both team captains this year, and they just exemplify what it is to be a great teammate. They never worry about putting themselves first or putting themselves in a position of power or holding their captain over, their lordship over someone else or whatever. It's how can I help you? How can I help the team? So this year, it was kind of a 50-50 tie. Haichu got it last year. We went ahead and gave it to Ian Ball this year. give another award out to a ball player, I did want to take a moment to shout out the balls. If you guys do not know this family is absolutely wonderful. I knew this, but saw a first-hand example of this when Levi broke his ankle. The way Levi handled it was better than I handled spraining my own ankle. The way Angelica handled going to the hospital without her husband there. The way she witnessed to every single nurse that came into the room. Hey, this is our story. This is why Christ is our Savior. The ability for the whole family to just not care about the circumstances and give God the glory is, one, extremely challenging as a person who doesn't handle trials very well, but it's really encouraging to see what God can do when you surrender your life to Him. So I just wanted to give them a quick shout out. So lastly, I'll end with a challenge. Like Ryan said, basketball is a summer sport. You play the game in the winter, but you get better in the summer. And I brought this up to Paul, so sorry, Paul. The only Wildcat varsity boys loss at Nationals was to the Aggieland Panthers. The Aggieland Panthers were a pretty good team, but they were really, really led by one player, and his name was Ethan Cox. Well, last year at Nationals, we played Ethan Cox at junior high, and he was not the best player on his team. He was maybe 5'10", maybe 100 pounds, and honestly, he was okay, but he was nothing special at all. And let me tell you, in 1 year, this kid was unrecognizable. Tight handle, able to get to the rack with ease, able to finish with either hand, just all-around player, and that was one summer. So, if I could challenge any and all of you guys, that can be you in one summer. In one summer, you guys can make a huge jump, going from being an average junior high player to a starting varsity player that's leading his team in points and assists at Nationals. So, it's my challenge to you guys. Thank you guys for letting me coach you. Reese, Ezra, thank you guys for being willing to shoot all year long. Whenever I scream at you to shoot as soon as you catch the ball. And everyone, thank you guys for letting me yell at you all year. Hope you guys come back and let me yell at you some more.
To our different coaches, going to get a picture. Yeah. So look at Mrs. Ramirez and smile. And I can attest that Cody nailed it in the shoot, because when I was doing the One Shining Moment video and I was watching all his game film, I kept hearing him on camera across the court, because usually the camera's across the court saying, shoot! So definitely did that. So I have to apologize, because when I did the schedule, and apparently, well, some other people looked at it too, nobody noticed that I repeated the times on the schedule. So we're going to be done later than we thought. So just want you to know that we're planning to get tomorrow. So you can yell at me later. So next up is the JV boys with Coach Jaquan Simmons. And JV boys was made up this year of a few varsity players. Ben, you need to come up with them, please. So if you were varsity and you played down JV at all this year, you need to come up too. And junior high players that played up on JV, and then we got some dedicated JV players.
All right, good evening, everybody. I am Coach Simmons, and I coach the JV guys this year. We were in Illinois last year, and the military orders had me come here to Indiana. And when I found out I was coming to Indiana and that the Wildcats were in the area we were looking at, I was really, really excited. Over the last 3 or 4 years, I have been watching Coach Paul, and every time I came to play the Wildcats, I was like, dang it, I gotta face this guy and Ty. So appreciate you, Ty, for scaring all of my guys for the last 4 years. Appreciate that. But I was super excited to come down to be a part of the program. But I was not anticipating to coach. That was not it at all. In fact, my last year was supposed to be last year, and then Coach Paul runs after me in practice and says, hey, before you go anywhere, we need a JV coach. Think about it, but I'm pretty sure you're going to say yes anyway. just so you know, you're going to be our JV coach this year. That's kind of how that conversation went. And here I am, coaching the JV team. But it was definitely an exciting year. So real quick, I want to give a shout out to all of my junior high guys. And then Ben, these guys were obviously not our core JV group, but they stepped up to come and help us when we were short and we didn't have enough guys. We were just like a splice team this year. Some guys had other things going on during our games and practices. But for all of the junior high, and to Ben, I'm singling you out. To junior high and Ben, thank you guys so much. Let's give them a hand. So it was definitely awesome. I'm gonna start with Nolan. Nolan, go ahead and raise your hand. Nolan here. Nolan came into the program definitely excited for what was getting ready to happen, and he had no idea what was going to happen to him. And I let him know very quickly, I'm going to make you right through the rest of the year. And after the first practices, coach, I love you, but I don't know if I want to come back because I made him throw up. Sorry, Nolan's mom. But it was a lot of fun. So to have Nolan come out, to be able to come and learn, not just from me, but from his teammates and from other coaches, to learn the game, to get to know the program, and to be a part of the Wildcat program, it was definitely truly a blessing. One thing I love to do is to be able to teach how this game is meant to be played, and to not just grow in the maturity of the game, but to grow as a young man. So to Nolan, I say thank you for sticking with me for the rest of the year. Appreciate you. Let's give Nolan. And I have Zach Meekum. Meekum, raise your hand. Meekum was my guy. This dude was an energizing bunny. And when I tell you, at the end of practice, he would do everything he could to put all of his sweat on the floor as he took his shirt off and fell out from exhaustion. I did not do this to him. He ran further than he needed to, so don't let him tell you that Coach Simmons ran him into the ground. It's not true. It's not true at all. But Meekum showed up to every practice and every game absolutely focused and ready to play. Though he may not have remembered everything that I taught him, it didn't matter. He went out there with every intention of doing what was necessary to help his team win, and had a can-do attitude no matter what was going on. And for everything that I taught him and tried to train him to do, he was willing to do it. So for Zach, thank you so much for letting me teach you this year. So let's give Zach. And then Zach Beachy. Beachy, raise your hand. This is my Beachy was one of those guys, once again, just like Zach, man. These guys were like twins, but not really. They came out dedicated and ready to play, eyes on laser focus, trying to make sure that whatever was necessary to get done for the team, they were there for it. All right, Coach, whatever it is that you need, I got you. But just tell me what it is that you need me to do, and I'm going to make it happen. And so from the start of the year, I could see where Meekum was, and I saw the potential. So not that I didn't do it for anybody else, but I definitely harped on Meekum a whole lot more because I saw the potential of him rising to a whole nother level. And by the end of the season, that was one of the things that he did. So with all of that said, for this year, my most improved player is Zach. So we have three personnel that are missing right now. Julian Reimer, Caleb Bonnet, and Jacob Marks. Those guys are missing. They were also part of our team. Unfortunately, they were not able to be here tonight, but they were really, really awesome, and I enjoyed coaching every last one of those guys. For my most valuable player, this guy that stepped on the floor, he was always my plus minus. With him off the floor, we were not as good, but with him on the floor, we were just a tad bit better. And so I loved having him, and he was missed when he wasn't on the floor. So for my MVP, I chose Julian Reimer as my MVP. And for my Spirit Award, the player that showed up that constantly constantly had an attitude of gratitude. He was always down for not just himself, he was always ready for what was necessary to make sure that the team could get through, not from the physical aspect, but also from the emotional and spiritual aspect. He talked to the team separately, he would bring them close together, and he always rallied the troops from the perspective of, hey, we need to stay together, be together. He was definitely the glue when it came down to it for the remainder of the year. And for the Spirit Award, that went to Caleb Bonnet. Last remarks, real quick. Our year didn't exactly go the way that most of us wanted it to go, but it was definitely exciting, a learning, growing experience. I felt like as we went through and all of these guys came and helped, we all matured together, just trying to learn one another, to play together, and to have fun playing the game of basketball. So I loved every minute of it. And to Coach Trey and to Coach Paul, thank you guys so much for helping me and to being there with me on the sidelines when I needed that additional coaching. Those guys were there. So to Coach Trey and Coach Paul, thank you so much. And of course for my wife allowing me the opportunity to coach, because when I told her last year I wasn't going to do it and I came home and said, hey, Coach Paul said I got to be the JV coach, she looked at me and said, well, I guess you got to do it. And I said, really? You're not going to? She said, no, I'm not getting in that. Coach said you got to do it. You got to go ahead and do it. And just stick with it and go through. So thank you, my wife. I just want to piggyback off of what Cody said. I thought it was a great point. And it's something that I told many of these guys already. As you leave this year, ensure that you go out and not just sit on your PlayStation 4s and 5s and Xboxes, that you actually go out and work. Put in the work. If you put in the work in the off season, it'll definitely show up when the season shows up. And you will greatly appreciate the opportunities that you are given when you put in that work. So that said, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you letting me talk to you just for the 4 minutes that I was able to do so. And JV boys.
She's wanting you to get closer together. Get a little closer together. Eyes on the camera. Eyes on the camera. Smile. Thank you, JV boys. Next up, we have JV girls with Coach Trey Ochen.
I just had one quick comment before Trey makes his remarks, and I have to preface it by saying that I am not a gambling man, but on the first day of practice, I asked Coach Ochen, what is the over-under on the number of times that you're going to make these girls cry throughout this season? Because I've seen up close him with the 12 girls, and I was prepared to put my house on the over. I knew he had not coached girls before, and it was going to be an interesting experiment. So, fortunately, there weren't a lot of tears this season. I think there were a lot more good times than bad. I just wanted to quickly say that I thoroughly enjoyed getting to work with these girls and watching them all improve and gel as a team. And I'm thankful that I got to play a small role.
Naomi didn't come up.
No, Naomi, get up there.
I'm very confused. A few opening comments, thanks to my wife as well. Thank you, Ryan Reese. I never had to worry about my scorebook being done. You know how helpful that is. Thank you, sir. Thank you to Jacob, Andy, and Jill, and Mike for always helping in practice, continually teaching, drilling, and encouraging the girls. I do think we served them really well in practice. You guys made that possible. Mike Birdwell is maybe already the best assistant coach I've ever had. He's thoughtful, funny, smart, analytical. He puts up with my lunacy. Coach, I know I say it from time to time, you're great. You make it fun. You keep me grounded, you've made me a better coach, and I hope it's as much fun for you as it is for me. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing him with me. We share our Nate Bargatze love. Angela, I'm sorry I yelled at you more than everyone else this year. I don't know why I was tougher out loud on you than anyone else, except maybe Natalie. I know it's partially because we needed you to get better faster for us to reach our potential, and I believed you can do that. I assure you I won't yell, Angela! For 6 months, and I will start calling you Princess again. I love you. Natalie, I wasn't as loud with you as I was with Angela, but I was probably more direct and harsher with you than anyone on the team. I'm sorry about that. I want you to hear it from me. You're a very, very good player. If you keep working, you're going to be a great player. It was just like Angela. I needed you to improve faster for us to be successful. It was a tough situation. Thanks for putting up with me. You're great. So I had to take care of that housekeeping. It was important. All right, let's get into it. This year, the JV girls went 19-17 on the season. That included a 6-10 record against varsity teams. When you pull out those games, you'll find we went 13-7 against other JV teams for a winning record either way. We finished second in the state tournament, fourth at the regional tournament. Very well done, ladies. I always divide the season into 3 parts. Each part has a specific name and theme. In the first part of the season, I focus on what I call playing the right way. The second part of the season, I try to focus on playing better. And the last part of the season, I try to get us to the spot where we can play our best. Play the right way, play better, play your best. That served me really well as I've coached for many years, and that is how I'm going to organize my thoughts tonight. Play the right way takes up the first 2 months of the season, October and November. Really tough start. We graduated really, really good players. One went on to play at Bethel College. And 2 of our girls were still playing soccer, one was still playing volleyball. For that first month, they had to adjust to a new coach. You can understand how tough the start was. And when I say play the right way, you might think I mean developing the right skills and athleticism that are required to be good players, and that's certainly part of it, but the things that I think about are more important than that. 4 things I try to instill in my players: humility, we play for God and for our teammates, no selfishness. Respect, we obey the rules, we respect the officials, they're the authorities, not us. Passion, we join the team, we don't quit, we always give 100% to the team. And we're cool. We're always alert and composed. We don't give into panic. Of those 4 attitudes, one stands out to me about my team, and it's passion. I didn't see it at first because I guess passion shows up differently in girls than guys, and I didn't have the intuition to recognize it. Or maybe it was because Ainsley yawned every time I started talking in a huddle. Right in my face. But probably not. You see, we only averaged 31 points per game this year. We really struggled to score at times, but boy did we play with passion. And the reason I'm so proud of these girls is because it would have been really easy to let embarrassment and discouragement take over after some of our early games. Listen to these scores, you remember them. Wildcats lose 30-11. Wildcats lose 55-10. Wildcats lose 50-11. If it sounds ugly and very hard, it was ugly and very hard. But we played with humility, respect, and passion. We started defending with passion. Game after game, opposing coaches would comment on how hard the girls play defense, and I love that. With that in mind, I want to give away our first award tonight, of course, our Defensive Player of the Year award right now. You don't get a lot of scouting in girls JV homeschool basketball. You can't go online and research the other teams. So I would always give Coach Birdwell the task of paying attention to the opposing team warming up, and he would try to make his best guess as to how we should match up defensively. His first job was to find the primary ball handler and make sure that this player was matched up on her. Because she played defense so hard, took it seriously and relentlessly, she made it hard for the other team to be effective. We won games and stayed in games that maybe we should no business being in because of this player. And I know she made Coach Birdwell's assignment a little easier at the start of the game. This was not a hard decision, and both the player votes and the fan votes were unanimous. And this player's at ease. The second part of the season, I focused on the core value of playing better. The girls probably remember me saying this all the time. You have to get better as a player. We must get better as a team. Everyone must get better. God doesn't demand perfection, but he does want us to grow. Luke 2:52 says Jesus grew in wisdom, and stature, and favor with God, and favor with man. I would tell them, you have to get better in practice. Don't just go through the motions. We have to get better. We have to learn to trust each other. We have to learn to trust our offensive and defensive schemes. A group working together is really hard to overcome. Well, did we do that? Well, I think so. We started to win some games. We even won the Central Christian Holiday Tournament in December. We beat a really good Indianapolis Heron team, 43-41. And it wasn't just me thinking we were getting better. Probably the high point of the season for me was late January in Lafayette when the officials came to my bench in the middle of a game against the girls varsity Cincinnati Trailblazers and said, "Coach, is this the same team you had up here in November? It's not possible." We were giving Cincinnati all they wanted that day. And while we didn't quite up winning that game, I think it was that day that we all really took another step forward and embraced getting better. With that in mind, I want to give away our second award tonight, the Most Improved Player of the Year. The fan votes and the player votes here were also unanimous. This was while the fan votes and the player votes here were unanimous also, this was not an easy decision. I want to say to every girl here, and to all of you, the thing I am most happy about this year, and Coach Brewer and I talked about this several times, without exception, every girl got better, and I mean got better. And so that made it very hard. This player played basketball for the first time this year. Everything was chaotic and new. I could tell basketball wasn't really fun at first, and that's no surprise because nobody has fun when they don't know what's going on around them very well. But this player just kept listening, playing, practicing when we got to nationals. In our last game of the year, we had an 18-18 halftime score. We changed our defensive schemes. We engaged this player for a specific task, and the other team scored, I think, 9 more points the whole game, and we won 36 to 22 or something like that because of her aggressive defense. I really hope she'll play again. I can't imagine how much better it's going to be for her now that she has a context for what's going on, and this year's Most Improved Player is Allie Birdwell. And the last part of the year is what I call play your best. Play the right way, play better, play your best. Somehow being able to play big games without fear or nervousness. Fear is the enemy of your best. Being able not to focus on the scores and just giving your all and realizing that if they're better than you and if you did your best, you couldn't have done any more. Everything is okay. I would say to the girls, just let your best come out, and this is where our season really shined. The example I'd share is at the Midwest Regionals, which was won by Western Michigan, a really good team. I wish the story had a happier ending, but late in the third quarter, we're within 4 points, playing against one of the best teams in the country, playing really, really well, probably playing our best game of the year. Angela falls on her wrist, we thought it was broken. Natalie fouled out, and our chance to win was gone. But it showed me how far we came. Being out there on the floor with the girls who won the regional, knowing you belonged out there. That's a great memory for me. And it didn't go our way. Why am I so missing? I don't know what my problem is. But with that in mind, I want to give our third award tonight, the Wildcat Award, because it exemplifies that kind of no-quit Christian character. This player works hard. This player's a great teammate. This player helps lead the team on and off the court. This player was a joy to coach. This player wanted to get better. This player served her teammates. As I would say it, this player played the right way. The fan votes and the player votes were unanimous as well. This player is Melissa Tolbert. And my last job tonight is to give away our MVP award. This was the hardest award to decide on by far. Jason said it before, but we had so many crossover players. You see, Kenna played 12U. So many of these girls played 14U as well. We decided to limit the awards to the age that was appropriate for them. So that took a few of these girls out of the mix at this moment. But I could make a case to give this award to Lydia. I could make a case to give this award to Natalie. I could make a case to give this award to Ainsley. You wouldn't hurt my feelings if I gave it to Melissa or Angela or Addie. The truth is we didn't have a best player who was the best player all year. It really changed from month to month, from game to game, and that makes this hard. I can illustrate it for you easily. During the season, Natalie Tolbert earned second team honors at the Central Christian Tournament. Melissa Tolbert earned first team honors at the same tournament. Angela was named the tournament MVP. And at the end of the year, Addie Reese played so well that she was named to the NCHBC All-Region team at the end of the season. They all earned some awards. It was agonizing, and it was just 2 hours ago. Mike and I are still trading texts about this. The MVP this year was a solid defender, a really good rebounder, had some high-scoring games for us, scoring 14 against Colonial, 19 against Northwest, 14 against Heron, 15 against Cincinnati, and that player is Angela H.
That's my sister.
Ladies, we spend a lot of time on basketball. It can easily become an idol in our lives, so I want you to know my biggest prayer for you is that you seek the kingdom of God first and his righteousness, and let these kinds of things be added to you. I love God more than hoops, and you might not see that since we come here to do hoops, but I want you to know that's who I am, and that's who I want you to be also. You're the best. You've made me a better coach this year than I was at the start of the season. I love you girls. Thanks for a great ride.
Can you squeeze blue that way, Prince? You're all in the blue. Angela, can you go way to the end of the blue, please? Squeeze together with your coaches. Eyes on Mrs. Ramirez. They're perfect posers. All right, thank you, JV girls. And I did, normally we do ladies first in this awards banquet, and I did give the girls as our oldest team the girls varsity spot that we normally have. That's why they weren't before JV boys. Before I bring up Coach Suttle, you can come up and you can stand there while I talk about you, that's fine. So before we bring up Coach Suttle and his team, I just want to say thank you to him because I don't know if you guys all know this, okay? But we have so many things that other teams do not have, okay? We have a huge yearbook, which has a lot of contributors to it, but the boys varsity coach always puts in more pages there and has to edit more pages and has to contribute more information than any other coach. But beyond that, we have a website that Coach Suttle designed that he maintains. We have merch on the website that he either gets something to design or he designs and he puts up. He is a main encourager. Who got a letter from Coach Suttle today? Raise your hand if you just got a letter from Coach Suttle. Yeah, all of you should have your hands up because you all got one. I saw him saying. So like he's the main encourager for all of our boys teams. Boys scheduler is the lead coach for all of our boys coaches and provides guidance throughout the year. So Coach Suttle is our boys varsity coach, but he's also our most active alumnus. And although he has a few guys that he's drug into it with him that are certainly vying for that spot. Thank you, Coach Suttle, for all that you do for us. And Coach Suttle with the boys varsity team is next.
A little bit of hustle.
Really the pleasure not to still on the court.
Well, thank you guys again for being here. I know there's a lot of thank yous going around, but really I just always like to start out with expressing my gratitude just for every single person here that's involved. The volunteer hours, the prayer, the families that goes into every year. It's astounding, and I'm humbled to be able to be a part of it. And you guys are what makes this organization special. So thank you for that. I want to thank all the coaches at all the levels: Ryan, Ethan, Cody, Quan, Jacob, Trey, Heather. Thank you for investing so much time. We all know what it is like to be a coach and the stresses that come with it. So thank you guys for dedicating that time and investing in our youth and helping grow them. Then I also thank my assistants, Josh Jones, Nate Magnuson, Trey Ocean, and DeQuan. You'll see me from end of the bench to the front of the bench between two of my assistant coaches and my other two assistant coaches, getting different perspectives. They just have such a knowledge for the game, and it's a pleasure being able to work with you guys and have you there. So thank you for all the time that you spend. And then lastly, like every other good husband here that has done it, I want to thank my wife just for allowing me the time and sacrificing, allowing me to be there, be present for the guys at all hours of the night. And thank you for being my rock through the great times and the difficult times. You're always there. Thank you. So this season was met with a lot of challenges between injuries, sickness. I'm pretty sure outside of the Nationals we had 2 games where we actually had everybody present and playing, and we had very few practices where we had actually everyone there playing. We had a lot of youth, so throughout this whole process there was a lot. It was hard to build cohesion with guys missing. In my letter to the players last year, I talked about having joy in every moment, good or bad, and that's easy to say after you just made it to a Final Four, after you just won a regionals. But multiple times throughout this year, I asked myself, am I living up to what I wrote in those letters? Are we living up to what we talk about at the beginning of the season? And in all honesty, it's been a while since the Wildcats haven't made a state Final Four, since they haven't finished in the Final Four regionals, or since they haven't been in Division I Nationals. And I think we can feel that in the program as a whole, and it makes us appreciate the success that we've had over these years, appreciate the process and the hard work that goes into doing that. And I pray that it fuels our work this summer and ensures that we win the right way. I look around at all these younger players and I see a lot of talent. I see a lot of winning in our future, and I pray that we're prepared for that. For this team this year, we had some successes that I want to highlight. The first being the Central Christian Christmas Tournament, winning that, and that was against the Irvington Prep team. And that was a very physical, high-intensity game, and we drew 7 charges in that game, which is absolutely ridiculous. So the guys laid themselves on the line and really did a good job there. The second success that we have is one of our goals. We did a workshop at the beginning of the season. One of the goals was to break the charge record. We successfully did so. We drew 68 charges as a team, previous record being 59, which is crazy. 6 players with over 5 charges this season, 2 players with over 10, and 1 player that broke the single season charge record, and we'll go over that a little bit later. The last success that we had was winning the D2 Silver Ball Championship at Nationals. We've been saying all year, through the trials, the tribulations, the sickness, the injuries, that if we just keep doing the right thing, it's going to come together. The very first day out at Nationals, we had a devotion that was talking about the will to not quit, and to not quit until we've made it successfully to the end. I know that as a young player growing up in this program, my first 3 years of high school, we made it to the Elite Eight. My senior year, my last year, we lost the second game out there at Nationals. That was it. That was my career. And I know how I handled that in that moment. I did not handle it well. What I'm so proud of with these guys is when we had that conversation that morning, the way they responded, they played the best basketball of the season that week. They went up against a tough Aggie wing team, and Cody alluded to it earlier. Thanks again for bringing that up. That loss, that was a good team. That was a really good team. They play in a Big South regional, which is just an absolute bloodbath. There are such amazing teams out there. I know the PT Warriors, who we played last year, that made it to the national championship. They were favored to make it again this year at the national tournament. And this team that we played lost to them by 1 at regionals, and that's why they were not in Division I. So that's a really good team that we played against, that we took down to the wire. So it really means a lot and says a lot about these guys, not only up to that point, after losing a game like that, to respond and go beat the Northwest Warriors, and then go beat another team from Oklahoma. That says a lot about these guys and their character, and that they take the Wildcat way seriously. So thank you guys, I'm very proud of you for that. So we'll jump into the awards here. The first is the most valuable player. This guy was our leader in points per game with 14.9 points per game, a leader in assists with 135, leader in rebounds with 170, leader in blocks with 11, and the leader and new charge record holder at 24, Aaron Gorley. one we'll go through is the most improved player. This person really, this player really came into his own at regionals. He had flashes earlier in the season, but again, at regionals, he really picked it up and was highly impactful on both ends of the game. I'm super proud of this guy coming in as a new Wildcat and really embracing the culture and being a leader at certain times, and that was Adrian Simmons. So the next one is the Defensive Player of the Year, and I will tell you this was the absolute hardest. I've been back and forth on this I don't know how many times throughout the past couple weeks. And either one of these guys could have won it. I could make a case for either one of these guys. The person that chose had 60 deflections throughout the season, 60 plus steals throughout the season, and 9 total charges. We also relied on him many times to guard the other team's best player. He's a gnat, and he always gets after it, and that's Lugo. And in addition to that other person, that honorable mention, someone I wanted to mention, took 13 charges this year, guarded the best player on the other team a lot. And he was complimented by actually a peer on another team for one of his performances that he had. He was the best that person had seen guard an All-American player. That was recognized by the NCHBC. But he laid it out there every single game with energy and enthusiasm, and that's Isaiah Hochin. The last one that we have here is the Spirit Award. This person, this guy never complained. He just did his job. He always had a positive attitude. He pushed his teammates and set the tone for encouragement. And when he got his opportunities, he delivered time and time again. But I'm most proud of just the heart that he has and the sacrificial love that he has for his teammates, and that's Caleb Duff. Thank you. Lastly, we'll talk about just a couple of the other guys. Nate Dove, who's not here, coming in as a freshman. He did the right thing consistently. He was a great leader at a young age for our team throughout the season, through both the highs and lows. Braden Wampner, talk about strength, the growth in his game throughout this season has been exciting. I will just say, watch out for this kid. Next season, he's going to be something different. He's going to be a beast, absolute beast. And then I want to kind of put these two guys together, Vanden Garner and Ben Owen, the new Splash Brothers. These guys can shoot from outside the ball. Freshman and sophomore, they're going to be something special. Again, a lot of these guys, freshman and sophomore, put a lot of work in this past summer. They're going to put a lot of work in this next summer, and I think going to do some really special things going forward. So thank you guys for your heart. Thank you so much just for, again, I think about this Nationals week and what you guys did and the heart and the mindset that you had. You need to be very proud of that and proud of yourselves, because it's hard to get that out of kids your age, and that's something special. So thank you guys.
Here's our speaker. Time for your close up. Coach, I think they want to introduce you too. Josh, who are you? And Coach Simmons and Coach H. Yep, hurry up, hustle up. Let's go. Come on. Josh does not hustle anywhere. Great job this season, boys varsity. All right, so we are getting close to being done. We have a few more things left. We have Mr. Dove and I are going to talk to you for a minute with Caleb and Nate in spirit, and then Mrs. Walker has a Wildcat Award, and then we have the One Shiny Moment video, and then we have to clean up. So that's what's left. So I am a professional writer, and I write all my speeches because then I know I won't go over my time. Hint, hint. Anyway, so we are almost done, but before we finish, and after you have heard all the awesome things that have happened this season in our club, Mr. Dove and I just wanted to take a few minutes to testify about how God has worked out many things for our family this season throughout our Wildcat family, And especially when you players, so pay attention players, because it's important stuff I'm about to tell you, okay? Thank you, Benji, for immediately responding, appreciate that. So we want you players to know how faithful God is. When we face times of significant trial and difficulty, it says in James 1, verses 2-3, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. This is what your coaches are telling you to have, right? If that person is guarding you really hard and he's like, just persevere, right? Just keep going. So let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Also in 1 Corinthians 12:12, it says, just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. We feel through the trial we experienced this year as a family and as a club that the scriptures were lived out. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dove, and he's going to tell you a little bit about his kidney transplant and how God used the Wildcats to encourage him as well.
So, as most of you know, back in December 2021, I was basically told I was going to have to go on dialysis. So I went on dialysis in June of 2022, got on the transplant list, and about a year and a half later, my name was picked. So December 10th, I was at the Northwest Warriors game all day, thinking it's just a regular day, get up Sunday, go to church. On my way home from church, I get a call that, hey, it's time to go to hospital. And it just rocked our world. There's nothing like knowing that you're going to be out for basically 3 months with nothing. I mean, when I got the transplant, I basically knew that for 3 months I was going to be confined from home, quarantined, not be able to attend my kids' basketball games. Thankfully, we had the live streams. I was able to watch them throughout the season. But I went through a transplant where they put in a brand new kidney. December 11th, I went in. 3 months, just happened to lie at Nationals. So the week before Nationals, I got the all clear that I could go back and start living life. And finally was able to go to Nationals and watch the boys' games. But it's been a road, it's been an adventure. I feel much better. But the community that we felt from the Wildcat family, I mean, when this happened, people jumped in and helped. I did the book for all the varsity games, so it changed that. We had people provide meals, we had people do all sorts of things to help our family, and for that we're grateful. So just from our family to yours, I just want to say thank you for the process, for helping us do that.
So during my part, if I call your name, you have to come up here, okay? So from my perspective, my job in our family is to manage our home. And even though I wasn't going to have surgery, my life was going to change too. And as soon as the immediate joy and nervousness that comes with a sudden life change like this passed, because it was joyful that my husband was probably going to get better, and we wouldn't have to worry about him so much, but nervous because there's risks with it too. I realized I had several jobs which needed to be done, and so did Brad, and we could no longer do them. I had 3.5 hours to get us ready get to the hospital and find someone to take care of our Wildcat jobs, take care of our kids, make sure our house was covered. So my first phone call was to Mrs. Walker and to Mrs. Owen together. I got them both on the phone at the same time. And these ladies were the most encouraging and faithful friends and sisters in Christ I could ever hope for. I just lost a bet, by the way, with my husband about who would get emotional. So he won. Anyway, they were excited for us, for Brad and for our family, and they immediately encouraged me to worry about nothing. We went down the list of things that would need to be covered, and it was done. Mrs. Owen enlisted the help of her son, Joel Owen. So again, if I called your name, you gotta come up here, Joel, sorry. To help with the restrooms until I could come back so that she could learn and do Mr. Dove's job of scorebook during nearly every varsity game. Josh helped with a few too, and I think a few other dads stepped in. She also streamed JV games, kept doing varsity and JV communications, though I was supposed to help with that, and helped in many extra ways with the program and the One Shiny Moment video because I was so behind. Joel's help allowed Mr. Dove to see every single one of his son's game this year, even though he couldn't come in person. He also stepped up for Mrs. Walker and helped with high school team social media graphics since her time was spread so thin, because Mrs. Walker kept doing scheduling for Mr. Dove while taking on live streaming duties for 3 younger teams, which our family had intended to do. She continued to oversee all Wildcat communications, and both of them had to do all the normal things that they do for their families. So we wanted to thank them with some gifts, which I think they already got. We all owe them all of us owe them a big round of applause, because like 7 different things in this club wouldn't happen. We also want to thank the Gorley family, and you can send up as representatives if you'd like. We want to thank the Gorley family who took special care of our sons Caleb and Nate, making sure they were fed at games, emotionally stable, and had fun and joy during an extremely stressful time for us. We had something for you guys as well, which Caleb I think is bringing too. So additionally, so many of you brought meals to our home, which allowed me to just keep up with what I could do since I didn't have to spend so much time in the kitchen, and we all appreciate it so much. Listen, don't thank me personally this year for these things, because due to everyone working together, we still put out a 56-page program, finished the One Shiny Moment video by the awards. Every game with an available signal was live streamed, providing game flow to all of our athletes and coaches, and no one burnt out. And I want you to go back to 1 Corinthians 12, remembering that it says, just as a body, though one has many parts, but all of its parts form one body, and so it is with Christ. This happened because Jesus is in us, and you let him shine through you. All you kids whose parents were busy doing stuff for us, thank you for letting them do that and not complaining. Unless you complain, in which case you should talk to Jesus about that. In short, when we knew Mr. Dove was going to the transplant list, I actually prayed that God would remember how special basketball season is to us, and that if possible, he would not allow it to happen then. However, I was very wrong. While Mr. Dove missed being here, I now wonder how God could have gotten us through this without all of you. So, I didn't fully cry, but I still lost the bet. Anyway, so thank you guys so much, really. We love you guys, but we now know for sure that you love us too. Mrs. Walker's going to come up and present the Wildcat Award.
So now I have the sniffles, but we'll get through it. The Wildcat Award is reserved for someone within the Wildcat family who embodies the Wildcat way. This can be a player, a coach, a fan, or a parent, and the recipient of the award is determined by the Wildcat Board each year. So most of you know Barnabas from the Bible. Barnabas encouraged Paul. His original name was Joseph, but it was changed to Barnabas, which means son of encouragement. Barnabas was generous, compassionate, and an encourager who had a servant heart, and each of these characteristics are what the Wildcats should strive to be. So this year the board unanimously voted for a person who is a Barnabas. The person has experienced some health challenges which led to disappointment over the past year. And instead of letting these challenges discourage him, he has chosen to have an attitude of what can I do to encourage others. He loves basketball and the Wildcats so much that despite not being able to play on the team this year, he committed his time, enthusiasm, energy, and encouragement to the club, specifically as he was an assistant coach to the 10U boys and the 14U boys. He helped players get better in practice. He was the first one to stand up and start the cheers during the games, and he was the first one off the bench to give fist bumps and high fives to all of the players during the timeout. I will be vague here because I know that he was not trying to do this for attention, accolades, or any other reason than to be Christ-like, but this person saw a need of a player on the team, and he generously used his own money to purchase the item and gifted it to him, and this selfless act really sets this person apart, just to make that person feel joy and feel special. The parents of this exceptional young man are certainly raising him right and should be very proud of him, and we are thankful he is a part of the Wildcat Club. Let us all strive to be like Barnabas and our Wildcat Award recipient, Noah Ball.
We're standing high cheer. You gotta come up here and give us our closing prayer. I also want to thank Megan Day for being our treasurer this year. She's the only one member who didn't do something tonight because she did so much stuff all year long, like really. So thank you, Megan, for keeping track of the money and keeping it all straight because we can't do what we do without you.
Well, that's great. I get to follow up that stuff. Pretty good. Pretty good. They had me go last because I get emotional, but also, I want to plan to get emotional, but all seriousness, let's talk about next year. We can walk the walk, Coach C said it. You gotta get out there and work. You know, I seen certain guys last summer, but I didn't see a lot of you guys. So we need to get back to silver balls are great, gold balls are a lot better. Banners are better than that. We've had that, so let's go after them. But you can't get that unless you go out and work. You gotta put the work in, you gotta get the shots up, shoot the free throws, do the work. It'll pay off. Thanks to the parents, thanks to the club, thanks to board members. I'll close this up. Lord, thank you for bringing us tonight. Thank you for the coaches, the families, the players. Let us have a great off season. Let the players focus, do the best they can, be the best they can be. Keep everyone safe going home tonight. Thank you for all your blessings throughout this year. Thank you for allowing Mr. Dove to come through the kidney surgery the way you need to. Bless the rest of the season. Thank you for all you do. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, sorry that we went longer than expected.